Do you see this picture of Toby eating dinner with all these game dev superstars? Now, this looks like the dream. Looks like the millennial dream come true. You're with all your game dev daddies. Okay, now imagine needing an interpreter to say anything here. Literally anything. Any comment, any response, any remark about the food, any remark about business, while having to have that same interpreter tell you every single thing that's happening in the conversations of these big game dev daddies around you. Now, imagine you're in Japan in this situation, except there's no interpreter, and none of these dudes are celebs. None of these dudes are your game dev daddies. The fact of the matter is, geomaxing to Japan is not pretty. And it's time we have a serious conversation about the geomaxing issue. Now, before we get there, I know some people who moved to Japan and it was perfect for them. They do well, they thrive in their lane, flourishing. This is the minority. I know hundreds of Japanese learners, and of them, I know dozens upon dozens who moved. It's the minority, the very minority that thrives there. Now, the fact that even money and fame can't make your experience in Japan go smoothly should be all the proof I need that this shit is not as glorious as you might think. Now, Toby has been really humble about his Japanese ability until recently. And I don't entirely blame him for recently saying, I know Japanese, like that, because the haters in this situation were super annoying. For those who don't know, it was a bunch of our South American friends who were upset that he did not honor an actual official translation in their language. However, he had to point out, localization is not easy. Localization usually ruins the product, and we can't just easily get one of those made, especially because it would take time away, and possibly even reveal spoilers if it was translated poorly, or even worse, false spoilers. So that's that, but on the other hand, it's not okay to pretend. And with that, it's time I call out a larger issue here. The Japanese learning community has a LARP problem. And that LARP problem ties into the theme of today, which is standards. Communities only can reach as far as the standards that have been set. Toby Fox is not good at Japanese. He admitted to an extremely cringe interaction with Beat Mario of Toho fame, in which he couldn't even follow very basic conversational stuff. And then not long ago, when he was doing the He Meets Kichi articles for Famitsu, something he took over for Sakurai and then didn't really have the time to continue doing, he was doing the whole read Vinny's to learn Japanese thing, indicating that he's probably a DJT lurker or immersion community lurker of some kind. Except hilariously, in very Toby fashion, he chose the irony weave pattern that I've seen 100 times now where, oh, you don't want to read the real, normal, scary VNs because you might get poisoned and become too based in otaku, so you gotta do the retro game meme that the soy redditor did that 5-hour review of. So anyway, he read Toki Memo as a classic irony weave beginner's VN gambit. And then worst of all, he admitted he couldn't even read his game at all until recently. This is massive. Let me put this in perspective. I was able to read Undertale and thoroughly understand it in Japanese pretty much 6 years ago. Was my Japanese incredible 6 years ago? I wouldn't say so. Was it bad? No. Was it at a point where I would confidently say, I can translate a product from English into Japanese? No, absolutely not. And yet Toby only just recently got an ability to even read the game. This man is in no position to actually be translating it, and no wonder the game is, to this day, full of errors, including some pretty doozy ones, such as Deadpan getting turned into Shinken, which completely ruined the characterization. I feel bad for any Japanese Deltarune brain rot theorists who lost out some of this delicious Chris characterization lore because I have a completely different idea of the character now. And the fact that Toby couldn't even catch this, despite supposedly reading it over, indicates quite low level. And so this is where standards come in. As long as Toby is representative of success, we will not advance. A culture and community is defined by its success cases. Following the state of Japanese learning on the internet pretty much since I was growing up, I can say with confidence there really was no Japanese learning community at all. There was no CATS. Well, technically CATS first emerged as early as 2006, but he barely even spread until the early 10s. Technically speaking, we have come far. But the issue is, if we don't move forward, we're just gonna move backward. The bottleneck is two things: geomaxers and the lack of an ideal success story. And that's why I'm here to declare a clean break. Geomaxers are no longer part of the Japanese learning community. They are the geomaxing community. And from there, we are no longer the Japanese learning community. We are the Oda learning community. Here's where an extremely important tangible difference comes in. The goal of the geomaxer is to speak. The goal of the geomaxer is to rot away in Japan at the bare minimum. Speaking conversationally to survive is not a good goal. There are people like Tikyo Sam, and no shade on Tikyo Sam. He's the one who introduced me to cats in the first place. I gotta show my respect to him. But the dude can't even read kana anymore. Tikyo Sam can do survival conversational Japanese. This is not a good goal to hold. The Oda learning community, our goal is to write fiction and essays in perfect Japanese. This goal is not something you can fake. This is not a goal you can learn. This requires actual perfect handling of the language. And that's why I've invented an exercise that will change everything. See this right here? This is called a closey. Closies are the future. Closies are the exercise that ensures that you cannot run away from actual serious word-for-word scrutiny. Closies are the exercise that will show the learner's brain this is exactly what knowing Japanese feels like. And for those who find that the closies look too scary, you feel too early, well, I got something else coming for you. I decided it's finally time. I'm going to make the raw, beginner-friendly otaku guide to Japanese. We are going to go through exactly what to read, what order, exactly what grammar points to watch out for, even literary breakdowns, cultural footnotes, everything is gonna be here. I remember in my early days wishing that I had some Oda dad to stand over my shoulder, breaks difficult sentences down, give me trivia and tidbits, even shed literary insight. Now we have that. Once the Otaku Learning Guide is complete, no one will ever have any excuse not to learn, because this guide will be a one-stop shop into complete and utter mastery, not only of language ability, but all the necessary literary and cultural awareness that's supposed to go with it. And that's where the final solution comes in. The final solution to the geomaxer problem, to the standards problem. Howard Blast made Orcast. This phrase will change everything. It will forever prove what is possible. No one has ever done anything close to even writing a successful novel in Japanese as Westerners. Our language community's greatest so-called feats are just crap like Sneaky Matt doing some bullshit that no one cares about. Warcastle is going to be a thing that the entire world cares about. It will forever prove that there are no excuses. I remember when I first conceived of wanting to make the project, sitting down and thinking, damn, it's probably gonna have to be written into English, isn't it? Maybe later I can translate it to Japanese. And then I stopped and realized, wait a minute, this isn't me talking. This is the Japanese learning community talking. This is the standard we set for ourselves talking. This is the bottleneck talking. And that's why the same energy that made Sublimic change the sheer level of degenerate act and that's when I said, why not Japanese? And forever that decision smashed the barrier. Orcastle will always stand there as this beacon where you can now say to anyone who wants to avoid standards, anyone who thinks they've done enough, you're not Howard. And it won't just stop at JP learning. Gaming has been a bottleneck for creative skill pursuit and even Japanese learning. Gaming has stagnated both creatively and culturally. Orcastle is the way to fix this. When we call Orcastle a role-playing anime, I mean that quite literally. The idea here is that you are literally playing through what could be an anime. The emphasis here is not gaming as gaming anymore. It's about the medium that was once gaming, now as a showcase of otaku wisdom, otaku storytelling standards, otaku art standards, and that as a gaijin, it's possible to keep up with exactly what the best of Japan do. Now, Chapter 1 of Orcastle is almost done, but when I release it, it won't be like Delta. This won't be a go bide for a grillion years before dropping the next one. The very way in which Toby had to bide his time between these chapters is indicative of a deeper, problematic pattern than just Toby's slowness. It's something that corresponds to the very lack of standards that goes into the video game industry up to this point. This is not how anime functions. Anime is about efficiency and the ability to act excellently in an efficient manner. So why have we not allowed ourselves to meet these same standards. There was a time when one man, Andrew Hussey, practically ruled the internet. And how did he do it? Efficiency. I am going to become the new Hussey, but if he was otaku and far more powerful. Or Castle will create update culture. What that means is updates frequent enough to the story where people are now constantly anticipating them, discussing them. The world will be sitting on the edge of its seat to know what happens next. If we can achieve this, it will create a global influx of new true otaku to stampede the irony groups, to stampede the influence of people like Gigik, of people like Joey Anime, of all these new tards who I don't even know what their names are, but they are awful. We will stampede all of them because we'll be the one true source of Oda wisdom, Oda knowledge, and a showcase of what it took to truly master Japanese. This will then even bleed into the anime industry, which I plan on eventually participating in, because we'll finally erase the concept that the West is something to be pandered to and any threat of globalization, because the West will learn how to be model otaku. My next content is going to be a massive treatise on the current state of the anime industry, huge Orc Castle content updates, and some videos showcasing how I have finally solved Deltarune and know everything Toby is planning 10 steps ahead of him. So this is the last opportunity I have to candidly tell you on video. Please support Orc Castle if you care about the future of otaku and the standards of culture. The more of a budget I can build for this thing, the faster and stronger we can bulldoze the Irony Weeb Scourge. It's going to be one of the greatest Vinnies of all time. Not the greatest by a Western, one of the greatest ever, written directly into Japanese. I'll see you soon. Stay based in otaku.